Hi folks, old man Grognard here. Late at night, which is the way I like it. I got some more emails to read and a few things to pontificate on. I really like fantasy. I really didn't think I'd like fantasy when I first started because, D&D seemed to be the only game in town, that and Traveler. And I didn't like hard sci-fi. But it turns out I do fantasy really well. So stick with what I know, even though I like superheroes and pulp and other things like that. If I didn't do D&D, I'd probably be doing Savage Worlds, which I do. But, I don't know, something about fantasy that just, it works. I mean, maybe it's because I know the D&D system so well. I mean, I've played it off and on for over 30 years. So, yeah, it's pretty much ingrained in there. And Savage Worlds is such a simple system that I really like using it. Anyway, we got a couple of last two in the mailbag here. Let's see. First of all, we got another one from Mojo. I like Mojo because it makes me think whether I like it or not. He says, first of all, this is back in October 1st, and he was concerned about, I injured my leg in September. Was it last year? Was this last year? Yeah, that's last year. Wow, this is old. Anyway, he was concerned about my leg because it healed finally. And so he says, hope your leg's better, all that. But he says, I do have a question for you, though. When designing an adventure, how do you determine how many characters are needed? I know there's a big difference in solo adventures and group adventures, but does the number of characters in an adventure really matter? Love to hear your thoughts on how you go about building adventures. Get well soon. Sincerely, Mojo from the OSR. Thank you, Mojo. Well, I tell you, I plan on 4 to 6. The reason being is that's usually the amount of players that I'm GMing for. I prefer 4. I could do 6. Anything above that, I would rather not. I don't even want to play in a game that big. I mean, I've dealt with 8, before. Then again, I was trying to run this. Still, 4 to 6 seems to be the ideal, and that's what you should plan for. And that's, to me, the ideal, because, 4, you get the 4 basic classes if you're playing D&D or something like that. And it gives you a little wiggle room, too, for letting maybe a couple more people in. It's convention thinking, which is okay. Because sometimes you get a, somebody, hey, my buddy wants to play, can I bring him over? Yeah, sure. And we'll roll him up a character and we'll go. So you get 5. And another guy says, oh, my brother wants to play. Okay, fine, bring him in. That kind of thing. And then I go, oh, game's closed. Okay. So I would plan on 4 to 6. Now, as far as levels go, because you brought this up in another email, I just don't have it with me. I pretty much plan for, if it's just a group starting out, 1st to 3rd, of course. But writing them, there's a lot of 1st to 3rd level, starter adventures out there. In fact, you got to run a few until you get up past 3rd level, or your own, or whatever. So you got to kind of judge. I see some mid-levels out there. I was going through the giant series of AD&D modules and didn't realize, wow, they're expecting like level 6 and up. And that just sort of took me by surprise. A lot tougher people back then, I guess. I don't know. But I would I'd like 1 to 3, and 4 to 6, and 4 to 6 players. So that should set you up right there. Thank you, Mojo. I appreciate it. Always always posing those insightful questions. Now, my next email here is from Brutor's Bill. Hiya, Bill. And this one is done in a really small font, so I'm going to try and read this. This was a little more recent. This is November 16th, 13th. So he says, hello. Wanted to reach out to you and tell you how much I've been enjoying your recent YouTube posts regarding OSR games. Thank you. I guess you could call me a grognard as well. I started gaming back in '79. I was curious which OSR system gets the most use/play in your game table. See, there is a question in here. I find myself jumping from system to system, which drives my players and myself crazy. I feel for you, man. I've GM'd quite a bit of CNC, Castles and Crusades, over the years. A ton of Mutant Future, a bit of Labyrinth Lord, Blood and Treasure, not to mention Gamma World /D&D/AD&D for decades. I don't have Swords and Wizardry complete, but your recent video has tempted me. I'm thinking about running Stoneheld Dungeon for my group, which has defaulted to Labyrinth Lord, but I could adapt a Tanio Solar Star system to it. That's right. Anyway, thanks for the post and looking forward to hearing from you. Regards, Brutor's Bill. Thank you, Bill, for writing me that. Yeah, I feel you because a lot of people, myself included, suffer from gamer ADD because there are so many good systems out right now just for fantasy. I'm not talking about the other genres. I mean, what do you got? We got the classics, D&D, AD&D, AD&D 5e, Swords and Wizardry, Labyrinth Lord, Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, Lamentations of the Flame Princess, basic fantasy, and, what do we got? Post-apocalyptic, Mutant Future, Mutant Epoch, Gamma World, right down the line. My God. So I understand because I'm just like a kid in a candy store. Which one do I do? Which one do I do? Well, my advice to you is to cut it down to 2 systems per genre. That way you've got a primary system, and if you get bored with that, you can use a secondary system. That'll make your players be easier on your players and keep you sane. Believe me. Yeah, I've got all these books. Plus, I like doing Savage Worlds and things like that. And Savage Worlds itself got, boom, all kinds of system, all kinds of genres. I keep stuff like this around. This is a composition book, but I make sure it's the graph kind, so I can draw maps and stuff in it if I want. And this is for Savage Worlds right here. This is 50 Fathom Savage Worlds. It depends on the system how I do it, because like if I've got a game like Castles and Crusades, now they're in my world, they're in this world, I know where they're going. No matter what campaign I'm doing, it's always going to be in my world. Something like Savage Worlds, I've got the 50 Fathoms book for that, but I've also got, this is my GM's book for 50 Fathoms. I've got another one in there over there that's generic Savage Worlds. I've used that for the pulp stuff. If I do any more like Deadlands Noir or Low Life or Slipstream or something like that, I will probably make a separate book for that just to keep track. And next time I'll probably I should show you how I do my GM books. I don't know if it's for this series or like my main series, but it would be good if I, showed you that. Well, like I said, 2 systems per genre, and, as far as I always default to fantasy and I always default to D&D. So thank you for writing, Brutors. I really appreciate it. And folks, my mailbox, I believe, is empty. So if you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to write me at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. You'll see it on the end titles there. I do check it once a day now, just because. It used to be once a week. There was one point I'm going, oh yeah, I've got another email box. Oops. But I'm pretty much more diligent on it. And if I've got something like this that I can, just chat with you guys and answer a couple emails, yes, they're email shows. Doesn't that scare you? But anyway, oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So until next time, bye-bye.